some believe that President Lincoln kind of baited those hot-headed South Carolinians into that fight by sending a civilian supply ship in there. That's open for speculation. But upon that, in the wake of the attack on Fort Sumter, President Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to force the seceded states back in. Remember what I said about Virginia a little while ago? We're not so sure we want to do this secession thing, man. You know, we're Washington, D.C. here. This reversed the decision of the Virginia State Convention mentioned on February 13, 1861, where they voted 2-1 against secession. On April 17, 1861, just 5 days after Sumter, in response to Lincoln invading his own people, sounds like General Lee talking, doesn't it? All right. Disagreements lead to war. They voted 2-1 to secede. Once Virginia seceded, then came Arkansas, North Carolina, and Tennessee. States that were against secession changed their mind by what they viewed as an act of aggression by their president. It floors me how people don't want to study history. Now, I was a weirdo in school. I loved it. Okay? I'm also very strange. I can actually understand English grammar. It has gotten me in trouble. I'm now in my 3rd year teaching English grammar. Oh, good grief. She offered me to teach, my administrator offered me to teach history, but there was this guy that was way smarter than me doing it before, and I didn't feel like I could follow. So, okay, here, you teach English. Oh, I teach Bible too, though. I like that way better. You know, I like a lot PE. Take the kids out. Colliding world views and a different interpretation of the United States Constitution caused the war between the states. The Confederate States of America Constitution was, as I mentioned a moment ago, based on the United States Constitution, but the emphasis was on, are you sitting down? Strong states, governments, and rights versus that of the federal government. I talked about people not liking history. It's a bunch of boring old stuff where you just memorize a bunch of old dates. I'm very good at dates. When you were up here, hey, when did this happen? Was it August? No, it was July 2015. I'm just very good with dates. I happen to be born on my own birthday. I mean, I know birthday dates and all kinds of things very well. I used to hate math. Anyone like that? I appreciate math now. You can't do anything without math. If you don't like language arts, you can't do anything without language arts. You have to communicate. Brother, do you speak Spanish?
That's right.
Yeah! That's pretty cool to me, somebody can speak Spanish.
And French too.
There you go. You can't do anything without language. Folks, listen to me. We cannot function without history.
Amen.
Every day of our lives, we make it.
That's right.
Those who do not learn their history are doomed.
Amen.
To repeat it. Abraham Lincoln at times spoke against slavery. Did you know what else he did? Sometimes he spoke in favor of slavery. He was a politician. He had views that would easily equal racism today. One thing that you will not read about were his plans to have many thousands of Africans shipped to the Isthmus of Panama. Pardon me, but that sounds racist. Abraham Lincoln made statements that the white man was superior to the black man. Well, I thought that was a Dixie flag thing. I really got to hasten on. I don't have any idea. I'm talking about dates, and I don't know what time I started. So you get tired, you throw something at me.
We got the 8 o'clock.
All right. Oh my goodness. All right. You've ever heard the Emancipation Proclamation?
Sure.
There were two very godly men in this conflict. I want to use that to lead into the Emancipation Proclamation. One of them was from the North. I'm not saying he was the only born-again Christian in the Union Army, but man, he was amazing. Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. I don't know who your favorite actor is. I don't know if I have one favorite actor, but Jeff Daniels portrayed him in the movie Gettysburg and Gods and Generals, they're well worth your time to get both of them. Okay? Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain was a godly man from the 20th Maine Infantry. He was colonel of his regiment, and some have said he saved the Union by holding Little Round Top at Gettysburg. Joe's just going to love me talking about a Yankee victory here. But you know I'm going to Stonewall in a minute, okay? Colonel Chamberlain, they ran out of ammunition and they had the high ground. He said fix bayonets, and they had a downhill charge and basically saved the day for the Union Army. Of course, Pickett's charge was the next day, and there wasn't much left of the Army in Northern Virginia. General Pickett's regiment after that. But in 1864, he survived a wound that I cannot believe. If you know anything about Civil War medicine or War Between the States medicine, he was injured in his urinary tract. If you can imagine such a horrible injury, in 1864. And he wrote a letter to his wife and said, I'm ready to go be with Jesus, man. I read what he wrote and I get excited. I'm going to see this brother in heaven. You know, we had different political views, obviously. But one of the most godly men from the South, you probably think I'm going to say General Robert E. Lee, and I love General Lee, but General Thomas Jonathan, better known as Stonewall Jackson, was a very godly man. And when he saw what President Lincoln did, he saw Virginia as holy ground. If you're going to invade Virginia, I'm going to defend it. Did you know that despite the fact that there was a law in Virginia that forbade the practice of educating the Negro? Well, that term will get you in trouble now, too. My paternal grandfather was also a bad. I'm third generation. And he called black folks Negroes. And it sounds like you were saying that other word. There was a law in Virginia that forbade the practice of educating black folks in the state of Virginia, but it wasn't enforced. So Sunday school, I'm a Baptist preacher. You think I don't believe in Sunday schools? One form of Sunday school was open on Sunday afternoons in local churches in Lexington, Virginia, to teach the black man to read and write.
That's right.
And this was in the 1850s prior to the war. And you're going to tell me that man was a racist? He had very, very progressive views. But we fast forward from that point to September 17th, 1862. And there was a battle that we Southerners call, in Maryland, the Battle of Sharpsburg. The Union calls it the Battle of Antietam, the single bloodiest day in the conflict. By military tactics and by all military terms, it was a draw, but it was the first time that Generals Lee and Jackson did not annihilate the Army of the Potomac. Therefore, the Union claimed it as a victory, and the next day, Abraham Lincoln began to write under the influence of a very interesting individual. He began to write the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay? Frederick Douglass. Can I blame Mr. Frederick Douglass for his views, wanting his people to be free? Absolutely not. The man was a genius. The man was very intelligent. He knew what he was doing. But he was very influential and said, you know, President Lincoln, you know, we have a lot of abolitionist folks in the North, and we feel like that we need to allow the black men to fight in the Army. Did you know General Robert E. Lee was very conflicted? He did not believe in secession. But his understanding of the United States Constitution was that the Commonwealth of Virginia trumped the will of the federal government. And to see them move in a military tactic against his state, he could not abide that. He did not want to secede.